Hey, Anthony. Hey, Anton. Welcome to the His and Her Money Show.
Hey, you guys.
Hey, the Downing brothers are in the building.
That's right. We got the Downing brothers here.
Yeah.
We are super excited
They're
about
twins.
this. Twins.
Yeah.
Aren't you a twin?
I am a twin. Yep.
Oh, twin club,
Yep.
twin club.
Identical twin sister.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah.
So we're super glad to have you guys here because you all have an incredible story that you're still writing to this day. But before we get into your story and your advice, can you just take a moment and say hello to everyone that's tuned in right now and let them know what you are all about?
All right, well, greetings to everyone in the His and Her Money land.
Yeah, all the money makers out there.
Yeah, we are excited to be on this podcast and to share our story. And we appreciate the invitation. Anyone that's interested in hearing our story.
Awesome. So tell everybody a little bit about why we have you guys here on our show. Just give us a little bit of background on what it is that you both do.
Well, we are firefighters and real estate investors and mentors and what was the other?
Business partners.
Yeah, business partners. Right.
So how did you all even get started with real estate? Because it's something I think a lot of people have ideas about. They may know like real estate would be a good thing to get into, but there's like a litany, a laundry list of reasons or barriers to entry when it comes to even becoming a real estate investor. So take us back to the beginning because you all are deep in it now. You all have a new show on TV about real estate investing, but let's rewind the clock back to how you even had the thought to not only, hey, maybe we should do this, but then executing. Go back to the beginning.
Well, the beginning of the journey goes all the way back to 2007. That was the very first real estate purchase. And that was really kind of, instigated by our mother, because our mother, she encouraged us, hey, you have to graduate from high school. That's a given. You have to graduate from college. In our household, that's a given. Like, right. You have to do it.
Especially with the immigrant background we come from. Like, our mother didn't come to this country for us not to graduate from college,
Right. And then, and then she already, she had this real estate spirit because her father, our grandfather, owned a tremendous amount of real estate and businesses in the Bahamas. And so that was instilled in her. So naturally she came to us and said, hey, you want to be almost like a challenge to our ego. Not even almost, it is a challenge to our ego. So you want to be a real man? A real man,
right,
owns his own home, owns his own car. Ownership will define whether you're a man or not. And, that's where everything started for me. It's like, oh, okay, that's that challenge. Oh, I can live up to that. Mm-hmm. And so then, in 2007, by the time 2007 came, I'm 25 years old. Because we purchased properties, at different moments. Our very first purchase didn't happen the same year.
Right.
But bought a condo in 2007, and then 1 year later, the recession hit. So it was very devastating. It was very disappointing and deflating that the investment in itself had lost all value within 12 months of purchasing it. But I'm solution oriented. I'm optimistic. So it was about, okay, what do I do? Because I don't want to ruin my credit. And I knew after making the first purchase that it wasn't going to be my last. I had the mindset that I wanted to buy other properties because, I'm just not a one and done type of person. And so then it was like, okay, now it's all about research. It's like, what do I do? Especially in an age where we have Google of all things to try to find answers to the problems that we have. It was like, okay, so what financial products can I buy? Is there a way for me to buy another property? Because just like my property lost value, and I'm like, okay, do I short sell it? Do I allow myself to go into foreclosure? How does that affect my credit? What are my options? I knew, I'm reading every day that there's millions of other Americans who are going through the same problem. So I thought to myself, okay, there has to be a way where I can keep my credit right and then be able to purchase another property that someone else is in distress from. And so, and that's exactly what I did. I was able to find out by learning the rules of the real estate game that I was eligible to get another FHA loan. And it happened to be a 203K rehab loan, which allowed me to purchase a property which was below market value, and then do a full renovation. Well, it actually didn't have to be a full renovation. It was a pretty good condition, but a renovation of that property, which is where I then needed my brother's help. Because, you know, when you're doing a renovation for the first time, it's like, okay, I can't always be there. And then when I'm at the firehouse, I'm gone for 24 hours, and I, you know, don't know these contractors, don't have that relationship. So I want to be there on a daily basis to make sure that the work is getting done and done in a timely manner. And so he was there to be able to fill in for me.
Yeah, and I think that we should make sure that people listening or watching this understand that with 203Ks, the federal government brings in an inspector before each draw. So you don't have to be scared to use this product. You don't have to feel like the contractor is going to screw you, because they're not going to get to the next draw until all of those checks are made. Like, was the drywall completed? Was the plumbing completed before they do the drywall? You know, then they'll get the next draw. So to me, it's a great way to get your dream home, or even if this property is going to eventually go for like the long flip.
Yeah, you know, actually, he does bring a great point. I believe for those out there that want to start flipping properties, right? You know, buy, renovate, sell. For those who want to get into this game, the safest way is to start with a 203K FHA rehab loan, because of the auditor and because there's a safety net getting through that first property. And then after you've owned it for 12 months, you can sell it with no capital gains on the sale of that property because it's your primary residence. And now you get a check for however much that difference is, that you can then is the seed money for you to begin flipping other properties. And so I really don't see that kind of like advertised to people that want to start doing renovations, especially first-time home buyers who especially those who are young or who have a mentality of, you know, this is just the start of a business empire, of a real estate business. Right. But a 203K rehab loan gives you that kind of security.
So I think that you guys are bringing up something very, very important, the 203K. And I want to back up a little bit for those that may not understand really what that is. Is that something that people can take advantage of no matter the state that they live in? I mean, I'm thinking about when we started our first investment property in 2008. That was my biggest concern, was that we had a rehabber, and we didn't know if he was taking advantage of us. We didn't know if he really completed everything that he was supposed to be doing. So it sounds like to me that you guys are bringing up a great program that is called the 203K, and that whoever's doing the work on the property, they can't get to the next payout, which is the next phase, until they do maybe step A first, right? Yeah, so break that down, because I think that this may be a new term that some people may not be aware of. Is this something that everybody can take advantage of?
Yeah, what are the stipulations?
Who's a prime candidate for it? Where can it be done at?
Because, all right, depending on the loan amount, you know, the schedule is made by the contractor, and you have to present like 3 contractors before you choose one. They require that. And let's say the draws are going to be $100,000. It'll be like 4 draws of $25,000. And each draw has like 3 or 4 objectives that are checked off
from the line item budget. And for that first draw, that contractor has to use their own money to accomplish the first draw. That means that they have skin in the game. Unlike when you're flipping with your own money or with private money, these contractors have to put their own money into the work, which then gives them the incentive to want to continue completing each draw, because then they get paid at the end on the last draws when they make their profit.
So it's a 203K.
And it can be done. And this is, you know, FHA, Federal Housing Authority, federal meaning anywhere in the 50 states, United States, that you live, you're eligible to get this FHA loan. And then the actual loan, the total cost, whatever you are pre-qualified for. So if you're an individual that's pre-qualified for $200,000, easy math, the all-in cost. So the purchase of the property may be $150,000, and the renovation may be $50,000. So that's a total of $200,000. And then if you've chosen right, because we all know we make money on the buy. Okay, you make the money on the buy. If you buy correctly, then the likelihood of you making a profit is so much greater. So then if that property, let's say the after rehab value, the ARV is 250,000, you're walking into 50,000 in equity at the end of the project. So, and that's the objective. Then you hold on to the property for 12 months to meet the standard for you to be able to be eligible to sell it and walk away with the profit with no capital gains tax.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Do they have to be a first-time home buyer to qualify? Do they have to live in the property? What are some of the ins and outs to that?
Yeah, on paper they say you have to make the commitment to live in there. Right, and you have to live in the property as your primary residence for 12 months. So, you know, like play the game correctly.
Right, play the game.
And the thing is, it's like you know, a lot of times these projects take 3 or 4 months to complete. So now, by the time you finish the project, you got 9 more months to go. You got 8 more months to go. And on top of that, it's a brand new house. You might enjoy living in it for a little while and enjoying it. But you know, that's the objective. Is to renovate a property and have a home that you love. And then if after a year you have decided that you're ready to move on, then you can.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Anthony stayed like what, 3 years, three and a half years.
Yeah.
You know, in the interim, I didn't buy a condo or a single family home during that time period. My first purchase was a 3-unit apartment building. You know, because I think a lot of times people get caught up in this whole American dream. The American dream is, you know, a single family home with a white picket fence. To me, it's archaic. If your first time home buyer, your first FHA loan is 3.5% down, and it can be on anything from a 1-unit
to a 4-unit
to a 4-unit building, use it on a 4-unit building. Now, for me, it was a 3-unit building, but 3.5% down on a 3-unit building, you can still get a single family home like a few months later. You do it the other way around, when you get the house first, now they want 20% on a multi-unit building.
Right.
So it doesn't make any sense, you know, fiscally, to start off with a single family home or a condo. It should be a multi-unit first, then go get a house.
If you're considering real estate as a business, then your properties should be profitable. And they should be profitable. You should have some residual income. And you should go after the bigger, more difficult purchases first, and then have those money makers be used as income for you to buy the dream home that you ultimately have. So that's what we endorse for first-time home buyers. We encourage everyone to go out and get a multi-unit property with a 3.5% down loan, you know, that down payment first.
Man, now, are y'all ready for the cheat code?
We're ready. We're ready.
Now, the cheat code is, 1, work with small banks and credit unions, right? When I got that first property, it was with Illinois Service Federal, which in Illinois, you know, black owned. Well, now it's Ghanaian, but it's still black. Ghanaians are black.
Yeah.
So, and as soon as I got that property, I was like, I told the loan officer, I want another one, and I don't want to put 20% down. How do I avoid doing that? He said, find a better neighborhood, higher, you know, value multi-unit building with a greater square footage. Then write a letter. The letter was 3 sentences long. You know, to whom it may concern, I want to live in a better neighborhood. The square footage of the property, you know, I found the property first, you know, is whatever the square footage was, and I intend on living there instead of the property I'm currently in. I submitted that letter, got the pre-approval and all of that. Boom, got that. Now I'm moving from this 3-unit into the next 3-unit. I got 2 3-unit buildings, and for 3.5% down. The refi. And I forgot to tell you, because FHA, you can only have one of those loans at a time. I refinanced out of the first FHA loan to conventional to make me able to qualify for FHA again.
Absolutely.
And then with that letter, boom, now I got 2 for 3.5% down, 3.5% down.
And did you do all of this with the same bank, the refi?
Yes,
and everything?
Right.
this is
That's good information.
this is what I've been telling people, or I've
You
been telling a
have.
lot of people it's my
Yeah.
it's literally my one financial regret, right? And what I've been saying over and over and over and over lately is you got to play chess. You got to stop playing checkers. So we've had several people at our church and just around us.
People that you're mentoring.
Yeah, that I mentor, and they're newly married, and they're talking about, okay, so how do I prepare for a house? I said, bro, forget a house. No.
Thank you.
I've told each and every one exactly what you just said. You got to play chess. I said, scenario A is you get yourself in position credit, down payment wise to get a house, and a year goes by and all you got is a house. I said, or you can get yourself in position credit wise, down payment wise, and buy a building, live in one rent free, let the other units pay for the mortgage. And now you can sell after 12 months, or you can just move after 12 months. You got to follow the rules that you just outlined. And then you can go do it again. So 12 months from now, you can have a house, or 12 months from now, you can have a house and a cash flowing entity.
Well, talk about one of the gentlemen that you were mentoring. He did just that. He and his wife purchased and they have 2 children. They purchased a 2-flat, I think?
Yep.
2 flats.
That's going to be a 3 because they're going to do the basement.
Yep, they're loving it. And now they're about to purchase their another unit, right? And he's partnering with someone that's going to actually live on the property, right? And now they have multi-units and they have more than one. It's like brilliant.
Yeah, because time is going to keep moving either way. So you might as well put chess pieces on the board instead of just playing checkers.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, he gave you his cheat code. Let me give you my cheat code moment.
Okay, we love cheat codes.
we didn't finish. So the first property, the condo, bought it for $150,000. 12 months later, we're in the middle of the recession, 2008. And so that property went from $150,000 to being worth $30,000. So I had 2 options. You either short sale or you let it go into foreclosure. I chose the short sale route, but I didn't choose to do anything until I was able to acquire the loan for the 203K rehab loan on the second property. So I kept paying my mortgage. I kept my credit score above 700. And then once I got the other property, then I short sold it. And that's a 2-year knock on your credit versus a 7-year if it was a foreclosure. So I knew moving into the second home that, one, I walked into equity. I knew that part. I knew there was going to be a recovery that had to take place. And I knew I had to be there for at least 2 years. So by the end of 2 years, and it ended up being 3, then I could sell it and walk away with the profit, tax-free. But I maintained my credit on the first one. And that was the key. It's like you don't give up and you keep paying until you have achieved the second property. You don't just say the hell with it and then let your credit crash until you have because credit is important. Credit opens doors. Had I not maintained, because a lot of times people, they watch TV and they get discouraged by everything they see on the news and they just give up and say, oh, real estate just isn't for me. But you can't you have to have, the mental wherewithal, to be able to stay in the game. And so I stayed in the game. I kept my credit up. I got the second mortgage. I did the renovation. Then I went ahead and did the short sale. That started the clock on the 24 months, 2 years, until I was able to get my credit back, And then in the course of all that, the renovation is complete. I'm living there. I'm enjoying myself. And then once that clock ran out, then my credit ticked right back on up to 700. And then at that point, knowing that I was going to sell that property, and at this point, he owns his property, and we're working together, and we got this. We decided between the two of us, okay, we're going to work together to make sure that all of our projects work out. I'm going to sell this. This is going to be the seed money for us to start flipping houses, and that's exactly what we did. Yeah, it was a 3-flat was the first one. Yeah, and then
okay.
Well, from there, once you get confidence once your plans start to work, and and we renovated all the units. Every door were renovated. Whether it's because he completely renovated that house, but each of the 3 units, I updated the kitchens and the bathrooms so that I can raise the rents about $150 on each one. And then on that second building, you have to add value. you want to add value to a property. So the other thing too is we started converting if there was a living room and a dining room space. So on that second property, converting that into a bedroom.
Yeah.
Adding a closet where there was no closet, adding a door where there was no door, and now you have a bedroom. And now you have a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. It's now a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. So that means you get more rent.
Makes sense.
Now, most of our Montanans never do use the living room as a bedroom,
but they still pay the
but
higher
they still
rent.
paying at that rate.
It's time to get your life insurance together with Legal & General America. As one of the nation's leaders in low-cost, high-quality life insurance to over 1.3 million families, we know how to protect you. For nearly 7 decades, we've been the first and only carrier to add 10 more years of security to our policies for a total of 40 years of life insurance coverage. If you need basic protection until retirement, that deal is perfect. Legal & General America makes understanding and applying for life insurance easy. Our agents are standing by to help you determine the best coverage to fit your family's needs. Visit hisandhermoney.com/LGA to get started on your journey toward financial wellness.
So how do you guys find your properties? I know a lot of people are saying, well, how do I find the right property? How do I find a multi-unit to be able to do what you guys are doing?
Because you said the key is you win when you buy. So talk to us about some advice on buying right.
I mean, at this point, it's like multiple ways to do it, right? I don't think you should put all your eggs into any one basket. We've been fortunate to work with a really good realtor. She's on our team. She knows our thought process. She knows what we're looking for.
Yeah, Rachel Ruffin. Shout out to Rachel Ruffin.
Shout out to Rachel Ruffin.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we also use real estate apps like Redfin. And at the same time, additionally, because we are firefighters, we strongly encourage, not just because we're firefighters, we encourage everybody, drive the neighborhoods that you're interested in. Okay, get from in front of the computer screen and actually get out there and drive your neighborhoods and understand the pockets.
Yeah, driving for dollars.
Because you can be in a neighborhood that is, let's say, 30 blocks by 30 blocks. And then certain blocks are better than others in that neighborhood. And, you know, and the bigger the city that you're in, the more you start.
I was about to say 30 blocks by 30 blocks, that's a Chicago thing.
That's a Chicago neighborhood.
Not that big.
Yeah, some cities aren't that big. Right. But in Chicago, we have those types of big neighborhoods, right? So, but you also know that there's certain pockets that are better than others. So you have to drive and know the community that you're targeting to do your real estate investment. Whether it's a flip or it's a buy and hold, is equally important to know the dynamics and the demographics of where you want to purchase. So between a great realtor and using real estate apps like Redfin and driving the blocks to understand the pockets, we bring all of that information together to make a decision on where we want to buy and where, because you want to buy the worst property on the best block.
Okay. Now we're in our car. We saw something on Redfin and we're driving for dollars, as you say. I'm going to the neighborhood. What am I looking for? That'll tell me good idea. What am I looking for? That'll tell me bad idea.
All right. Well, if it's the summertime, which is what we're in now, right? We're always looking for properties that are boarded up. The grass is growing. You know, because it's really nice to buy properties that are where you don't have any tenants or you don't have this uninhabited, right? You know, there's no one there. And but I'm also looking for, and I just prefer ordinary brick structures. I'm looking at the roof because a lot of times you only have the exterior to look at. But if you have solid bones, as we say, on the exterior, because you know how much those things are going to cost for tuck pointing and in the roof, and whether it has a garage or not, and things of that nature.
Right.
But yeah, just trying to see where there's a bunch of newspapers piled up. Sometimes you go. And, you know, everybody can decide what they want to do, but you can even go up and see the mail because you might see whose name is on the mail and the address and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, through technology, you can always find out usually through the county clerk's office or whatever to find out who owns the property. Yeah.
And so, you mentioned, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You mentioned that certain blocks, even like, you know, you mentioned Chicago. We know that, you know, a certain neighborhood, one block can be great, next block not so good. Next block could be great. How do you determine, this looks like a good block, this might be a good place to invest?
Well, one, you can't do it just on one visit. You need to come multiple times, come in the daytime, come in the nighttime, come on a weekday, come on the weekend, come when the weather is beautiful outside, when you anticipate the most amount of people being outside. So let's say 3 p.m. in the afternoon on an 80-degree sunny day, you know. And then also we're looking at proximity to schools, libraries, any kind of like, you know, transportation, how far away, you know, Chicago, we have a really great transportation system. So how far is it from the bus or the train? Because all of those things are going to be, you know, advantages when we try to sell the property.
Yeah, I mean, really, the only con to the summertime is that people tend to sell the properties at a higher price in the summer than in the winter. Like, I bought both those 3-unit buildings in the dead of winter.
Yeah, I feel like,
you know,
we do feel like there's less competition on the buy side, but at the same time, to really truly know what you're dealing with, because I mean, you could buy in the wintertime, and then by the time you finish the renovation, it's the summertime, and now you got like an entire crew of people,
like with the 4-unit,
playing cards
in
front of your building, and now you got to deal with that.
Right, and that was the 3rd apartment building. Everybody and their mama was out in front of your units, and I'm like, oh man, you know.
But you can deal with those things too. You know, the thing is relationships. So anybody out there listening can pretty much pick up at this point that we're not afraid to talk to people. You know, and it's like, you know, you get to know the alderman or city council member for your area, the superintendent, the people who work for them, who actually do the streets and sanitation in the area, the police. I know in the Black community, sometimes it's difficult, or there's, you know, animosity towards the police, but when you show that you know, have ownership, you can be directed to whoever the community liaison is to try and figure out how to make it safer for your tenants. Because at the end of the day, if you're holding a property and you have 3 units, 4 units, you know, you have 3 or 4 families that you're trying to protect, and you want them to be there for the long term. So you have to do certain things that you may not like to do to secure your property for the long term.
I mean, and it has worked too, because in the 4-unit building, Caucasian couple moved in, you know, and it's like, even though it's an all Black neighborhood, but it's about how you run your business, your property.
Right.
Right.
And treating it as a business. Like, this is a business. Like, so every decision we make, whether it be for public safety, or whether it's for actually renovating the properties and being proactive about the things we know that may be wrong with the property. So instead of them calling us mad in the middle of the night, or not calling us because we have property managers, but calling our property managers in the middle of the night. No, if we know we have a certain issue that always comes up because of plumbing or whatever it is, let's fix it in advance. And on top of that, make them feel like, you know what, we're doing this to help you, to make your life better in advance. And people with a little bit of sense, if you can get the right tenants, will appreciate it.
Yeah.
So you all do both then. You all have done flips and buy and holds, because I hear you talking about tenants and property management.
We hold 3 apartment buildings.
We got 3 apartment buildings, and we'll be adding some more. We believe in cash flow, but also in flipping. You can do both. You know, it just depends on how deep you want to get into the game.
So how do you find the appropriate team members? I heard you guys shout out your realtor, your real estate agent. You guys have a property management team. You also have rehabbers. So how do you build up your team? How can someone find the right team and quality?
Look for references. You know, in the beginning, maybe even before, I think really at the beginning, before you even purchase your very first property, like going to these real estate meetups, meet people who are doing what you want to do, whether that's buying and holding. So you need to learn from people who are actually managing apartment buildings, and from people who are actually flipping properties, to ask them, who does your work, who manages your property, or who's your renovation team. And you can get the information through referrals. And then I'm never afraid to ask somebody, can I come by? Can I come check out the work? Are you working on something right now? Yeah. Are you going to be there on Saturday? Oh, yeah.
We're going to show up. You know, we just take a tour of the rehab you're doing. The big thing, and I'm talking about big thing, okay? Do not be cheap.
Right.
Trying to find the least expensive contractors blows up in your face every time. It's blown up in our face.
Yeah, every time we've tried to take a shortcut on anything, we have paid double time in time and in money. So basically, I put it this way: if we were building a $20,000 porch, and somebody came and said, "Oh, I can do it for $10,000," and you get super excited, like, "Oh, they can do it for $10,000." Trust me, they're doing it for $10,000 either because they have no experience and they can't get anybody else to hire them to do it, or the materials aren't right. There's something wrong with it, with the process. Mm-hmm. Go to who you know does the work and has a history and a record that's reputable, that you can go on a website and see the referrals and the stars and so on and so forth. Because every time you take a shortcut, you end up still paying the $10,000 you thought you was going to save, but then you also cost yourself a month or two because of inspections or more materials and money and whatever it is that you need to do. And we're telling you from experience, please learn from other people's experience.
We had a 3-story porch, on that. Actually,
that was on a renovation.
Yeah, but it was a 3-story porch. We ended up going and putting extra wood pieces on the fencing going around each floor. We did that ourselves because
you ended up having to do it ourselves.
Yeah, once we paid to do it, he was gone. Right. So,
oh man.
So I just want for everybody that's listening, these podcasts exist so that you can hear other people's experiences and not have to go through it. We went through it so you wouldn't have to go through that, as Jay-Z said.
So what you said, check ratings and all that. Any resources that we can use to vet out quality? I know you said get referrals, but then somebody gives me a referral, how do I check that person out like you just told me to do and make sure that, he has quality work, he or she has quality work?
And also for the FHA loan, the 203K, do they have to be qualified underneath a certain program?
Licensed. They have to get into their database.
And the bank actually will give you the referral list, the FHA vendor list.
And then you pick 3 of those and get each one of their estimates. And then you pick one.
And then you pick one and submit it. Right. So, that's the reason why the 203K is really good to start with, because it helps you learn this whole vetting process. It helps you learn how to audit, right? So I put this, when the FHA auditor comes to actually look at all the work to make sure it's complete, you walk right behind the auditor as they look at whether the electrical is done correctly, whether the drywall was properly put in, all the different things they're doing. Don't just stand outside or sit in your car or whatever. No, walk around and take notes, because this is your time. You have an actual built-in mentor to tell you what to look for to see if something has been done correctly. And that's the only way you're going to learn, is by physically being there. The goal, is 5 years, 10 years from now, to have a bunch of quality people doing all these things for you, and for you to be able to do this from the beach somewhere. But in the beginning, you have to understand what the expectation is of your employees. Mm-hmm. And so you get it by being there firsthand.
Let me ask this. You guys are twins. I have a twin as well, too. So it's easy for me to work with my twin sister. I think that we make some of the best partners. But talk about the partnership side. I think some people may be fearful of having a partner. How has it benefited you guys? What were the pros and the cons to having somebody else as your partner doing this?
The pros is more time, right? Because we want to be hands-on, we want to learn everything, and we want to push to make sure we get the most every single day out of our contractors. 2 of us is better than 1, because 1 of us is always there. Secondly, more money. All right, so you have more money to put into a project, and if there's a contingency, if there's a contingency, you know that you got somebody to lean on as far as okay, we got this $2,000 something that came up, we can do this.
That happened on the show. The bathroom in the hallway on our show Double Down, there was mold and a leaking pipe that was coming out from the roof down into the bathroom, and it was going to cost us $2,000. he got seriously mad, and I took a step back from that and was like, look, man, I'm going to put it on my credit card. It's going to be fine. We're going to get through. We got to get through this. This is about to be on TV. So
when you watch us on TV, it's real. It's not no made up situation, but it's multiple things to be frustrated about. But that's the thing though. You have to expect frustration. You have to expect the unexpected when you open up these walls. And you know what? You should come into it with enough money to actually deal with the unexpected. I think some people do feel like I have just enough money to get in, and I don't want to wait any longer. I don't want to wait another 6 months to save up another couple thousand or wait another year. I need to do it now. People want instant gratification, but no. Wait until you are prepared. When you're prepared to actually buy a property or do a renovation, then start it. When people get in too early, then it's a setup for failure.
I mean, I think that's more speaking to when you're doing it on your own or with a spouse or something like that. And if you're not ready on your own, that must be telling you need to get some partners.
Yeah, then you get some partners.
Man, we've seen groups that with 7, 8 partners. Now they're doing 2, 3 properties at the same time. They're taking those hits together. They're getting those victories together.
Right. Now the only thing is you just may have a smaller margin of what you're making because you may only be making 15% on your investment, and your investment may be smaller on a particular project. But sometimes
it's about volume.
It's about volume, and it's
do more projects.
Do more projects, and it's the long game. So it's but everybody has to decide what they want for themselves. Like everybody's situation is specific to them. What's your goal, and what do you want to do, and how much time do you have?
I want to talk to more about that because you just made a powerful statement in the midst of everything you just said. You said expect the frustration, right? Prepare for the frustration. And for us, our story, we put our foot into the investment game right as the market was crashing. It was mentally a very tough thing to endure. We were still young. I think that was year 2 of our marriage, and so we had our primary residence, and then we went after this investment, and then the market crashed, and so we had to hold on to that property a year longer than what our projected process was going to be. So we had 2 mortgages, 2 tax bills, every utility bill, and it was devastating to the point. Here we are, 2019, and we ain't been back since, right? So, but now we're at the place where we want to get back into the game, but we still remember, that pain. We still remember that frustration. So how do we prepare ourselves? Because like you said, even after you do all your due diligence, you vetted this, you vetted that, you drove, so you open up a wall, here comes a problem that you didn't expect, and here comes that flood of emotions. Talk about handling that, because it's real no matter what the project.
I think something, you have to write things down. Sometimes you need to send an email to yourself, to your future self, that says this contingency money is only to be used in case of emergency, so that that you have it there. And when that frustration sets in, I've prepared for this. That's why I have this here. Send an email to yourself that said, that in that same email that you send yourself, saying that something bad may happen once we actually start this project and open these walls. It's okay.
Having those type of thoughts about how it was last time, means maybe we don't do it the exact same way last time. Like this time, real estate investment group should be the next project.
And I also think that, as we mentioned before, you have to ask yourself, what were the issues that you had before? Did you have a bad contractor, or was it just that the market turned upside down on you? Whatever, you write a list of all the problems that you had, and then you address them one by one. And so if the contractor was the issue, then that means, like we said, you get the referrals for several good contractors. You physically say, can I come visit something that you're working on? You give yourself, and this is before you even purchase the property. You don't purchase a property and then find the contractors. You find the contractors, then you purchase the property.
Right.
Do it in that order. Because now you're bringing your team to the game, not starting the game and then saying, time out, let me go find my team.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
And then we talked about this before, is you win on the buy. So purchase something below market value, so that if we had a recession or a market correction, is the term they're using right now, that you still can make a profit even if the market drops X amount of points. Don't get something that's just barely going to have a profit margin, and then you get stuck with it.
What do you all recommend as far as property types? Because one of you started with a condo, one of you started with a multi-unit building. So for somebody, so use us as a test case. We're thinking, yeah, it's time. We want to get into the real estate investment game again. Should we be looking at single family? Should we be looking at condos? Should we be looking at multi-units? Based on all 12 years of experience now, what do you think?
There's not one answer for this, and I'm sure my answer is gonna be different from his. You want to go first, or you want me to go?
Yeah,
first?
I'm gonna go first.
All right, because I got it.
Single family homes. Single family homes are it's quicker in and out. Like when we did the 3 flat, that was literally like rehabbing 3 houses inside of one building. It took forever. And the problems were connected and compounded down through the walls and all that. That's fine. But I think single family homes is like you in, you out, you on to the next one in a volume. These are not all home runs. Sometimes you're only gonna make $10, $12, $15,000. There's gonna be other properties where you're gonna make $50,000. But at least it's not this huge project. That's how I look at it.
All right. So I think he heard the question differently than I did. So my answer is more of a long-term answer. If we have 2 individuals such as yourselves who have good credit, let's say both 700 credit scores, I would say buy the multi-unit, 3.5% down first, right? You have a property where you're making cash flow and you're saving all of your cash flow after you've paid mortgage and maintenance. Once you have built up your nest egg, refinance that property into a conventional loan. Now you're eligible for an FHA again. Now, second property, 203K rehab loan, because it's your first time rehabbing a property. Now you have the federal government behind you, auditing the process, draws that are coming out, and it's a great way for you to learn how to do a renovation. So this is your second property. You still have the cash flowing, a multi-unit in a conventional loan. Now you move in to the second property. Now your cash flow increases because now you're renting out the entire first property. You have to live here for at least a year, but you love it because it's your house, it's interior design the way you want it. You made all the upgrades. You know what you need for this neighborhood to be able to sell the property, and you did all of that within your renovation. After you have met the timeline to be able to sell for a profit as your primary residence with no capital gains, sell it. Still got that cash flow in multi-unit. You can then go rent somewhere if you would like, but now you got this lump sum of money. Let's say you walked away with $80,000, just like we did.
Yeah,
right.
I knew you were gonna say that.
You got a cash flowing property, $80,000 in cash. And if you're frugal, if you want to, you can go move into a very affordable apartment, but you got this $80,000, and now you're going to go renovate a property. Then this is where his plan comes in, and you get that single family home, something that the end product would be 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, the worst house on the best block in the pocket that you've researched. You do that project 90 to 120 days. You get out of that, and let's say you make a $25,000 profit, you got your 80 grand back. And then you just incrementally move from that point with excellent credit, with a cash flowing property that you still have. Right. Then you can upgrade your personal living situation if you want to into another home. And then also, what am I thinking of? The 1031 exchange. Do a 1031 exchange on the properties that you're flipping so that you don't have to pay taxes on those flips. Because now you're taking the profit and the money from that going into the next flip. So you're kicking the taxes down the road, the capital gains taxes down the road.
Right.
I like the blueprint.
Now I need everybody at home to go press rewind and write down some notes right here.
Yep. Good.
I love it. Here's what I want to know. As we wrap up, I want to talk about the why behind what you all do. You all did the college thing, graduated. You both got good jobs. You're both firefighters. Yet you continue to invest in real estate. You continue to keep doing it, and you've been doing it for 12 years now. For those who are on the fence, thinking, should I do investment? I have a good job, why do you keep doing it? And why is this a good wealth building tool in your estimation?
Freedom. Freedom.
And this is the reality of the United States at this point. The middle class is shrinking. You know, it's haves and have-nots. Most of Americans, like I want to say like 80% of Americans are paycheck to paycheck. They lose their job and in 30 days time, they've lost where they're living, and you know, their whole life spirals out of control. But if you had a multi-unit at the beginning of this story, your fallback plan is moving into one of those units once you've lost your house. You know, your fallback plan is living off the income from the properties that you're holding. So I think that entrepreneurship, because that's what this is, we're entrepreneurs. Real estate investors are entrepreneurs, just like a person that owns a corner store or a clothing store or a barbershop. It's the same idea. It comes down to once that job goes away for whatever reason, you're falling back on your passive income from your properties.
Right. I mean, and we're also thinking about generational wealth. I mean, it's not just about us. Like, neither of us have kids yet, but the idea that if that 18, 20 years from now, I've amassed, you know, 5 apartment buildings, cash flowing $15,000 a month, and the value, the equity in those properties are there so that I can sell them or do a cash out refinance and pay for school and pay for starting another business, because we're going to make sure our children are entrepreneurs also, so that we can give them the head start so they don't have to go what we went through. It's about the future. It's about freedom. And freedom comes through owning property and treating it as a business.
I love it.
And, you know, and we own property in the Bahamas. You know, we have 2 of them built now, like a duplex, 2 townhouses connected to one another. Both of them are 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and we have enough room to build 4 more. And the money has to come from somewhere. Since we're over here and can use, you know, American, you know, real estate products to get these 3-unit buildings, 4-unit buildings to flip and all that type of stuff. Now we're funneling money towards our projects internationally.
Right. It's leverage. And you know what? Freedom is having options. Freedom is having leverage. Freedom is having a credit score that allows you to get a loan. Freedom is having a property that's cash flowing, has equity, and being able to use that cash flow to renovate a property, or to be able to use the equity in the property to pull out cash to use on another business or another property. It's about options. It's about leverage, and that all equals freedom.
Wow. I love it. I love it. So tell everybody about your show and tell everybody how they can keep up with you after this episode.
All right. Well, the easiest way to keep up with us is to go to Instagram, The Downing Brothers, DOWNING Brothers, The Downing Brothers, and you can find out about everything that we have going on. We actually are launching a podcast. We have our merchandise. We're actually about to launch some living room and bedroom products. We actually have another project, a very special summer project that we're working on, a renovation where we're going to be giving away a home. Away a home, right, in a raffle right here it's Chicago, right on the south side of Chicago. And we have and we're still working on our TV projects. So if you want to follow what we got going on, go to the Downing Brothers .com. DowningBrothers.com.
That's where our merch is. Yeah, for our t-shirts and hats and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so.
DowningBrothers.com, the Downing Brothers on Instagram, Facebook, and you can find out everything we're doing.
Awesome. We'll be sure to have it all linked up in the show notes of this episode. Anthony, Anton, you shared a wealth of knowledge with us today. I think we all got inspired. I think we all took some good notes, and we're ready to build some wealth. So thank you so much for sharing your insight and your story with us today.
Thank you both.
Thank you for having us.